Today, over 1 billion children in the world live in poverty. At Help Heal Humanity, our goal is to connect children in need with people like you who want to make a difference. Our student sponsorship program helps provide children with the necessities for a healthy and successful start to life. When you sponsor a student, you're not only giving them the gift of education, you're giving them the best chance for a brighter future. 100% of your donation supports the tuition fees, uniforms, textbook, and school supplies needed to thrive in a safe and healthy learning environment. Sponsor a student now and be the catalyst for their brighter future. Hello!
Yay!
It's Thursday!
You know it's Thursday when we're both sitting there like, yay!
Yep. And now I've made sure that every Thursday night I go to a place where the Wi-Fi is not gonna interrupt our show. So Thursday nights have a whole new meaning from now. I socialize, I stay out, I get to do the podcast.
Yeah, we get to see
Barbara.
each other, we get to talk and conversate, all the good stuff. Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Well, yeah, so technology is gonna be technology. I mean, unlike this, we always make it work. See, that's one thing I tell people. We always make it work. We make it fun. We laugh and we just move on. But today we're gonna, just to give all the audience a recap of what we're doing today. First of all, we're gonna do some other teachable moments. I kind of introduced that last week, and I was saying to myself, I really felt bad. You know why I felt bad, Serena?
I want to take a guess, but if my guess is wrong, then you'll feel really bad.
Take a guess. I want you to take a guess.
That I wasn't involved?
You hit it right on the nail. See, this is just awesome that we kind of even know each other even more now.
Yeah.
Yes, I felt very bad. I felt like a loner. And then on top of it, I'm not the expert of this. You are. So I'm like, what am I doing? But you learn and you grow and you say, okay, Barbara, bring your partner in crime in that knows most of this, like 90% of it.
Well, you did an excellent job for sure. I mean, you did good, but I was feeling sad I was feeling bad in the backstage in the back room, and I was like, nobody.
And I felt bad too. I was looking at you and I was looking at them. I'm like, what am I doing? I said, rewind. Let's do this. Let's do this the right way. So now that we have our expert and then me, coordinating and kind of just moving things along, we're gonna do a teachable moment today with Mrs. Serena and myself. So I'm gonna put up Serena just so we can follow through and people can follow along. I'm gonna add our little PowerPoint here. So I created this little updates. And I was gonna say because there's steps. I found there's like 10 steps. There's probably more, but Google University, I love them. And they said there's really 10 basic steps when you're looking at starting a nonprofit. Okay, so I kind of took that and I took the stuff that you did, and I said, let me put it in together and we can kind of discuss that because I know myself, and this is your first time hearing this from me. I do want to start my own nonprofit, a small one. And, the first I said, okay, Barbara, just like I asked the questions last week. Okay, why do you want to start it? What's the purpose? What's the whole, So I think this is really good to make sure that, before you even start this whole process, because you've been through the whole process, is to make sure those things are intact. So I wanted to kind of go over And I want you to kind of throw some things out because I did the fourth step too, but I want to make sure that the first, second, and third is brought back as an overview, and then you can put your little expert spin on it. So I'm going to say the three steps to remind everybody, and then I just want you just to charge in and just say, okay, Barbara, I got this. Let me say some things. So the first step I said last week was, why do you need to start a nonprofit? What's you have that bubble in your head with the little light bulb, and it's like, okay, I want to do this. Now why? The second step was build a solid foundation. And the third step was create a detailed business plan because it is a business. Some people kind of forget a little bit. Nonprofits is a business. It's not just you. It's like a hobby. You say, "Oh, I'm just putting this together, and here we go." So,
Yeah.
Serena, give some tips on that because these were some good steps that I've seen.
Yeah, and I think I went through some of this in the beginning. So I think for me, I didn't know that I wanted to start a nonprofit. It was never like kind of part of my life plan or my life goal. It just the direction my life was heading in organically was leading that way. And so as you know, it started in my classroom helping at-risk youth, and then at-risk youth, rose above. They became, very, very valuable members in society by helping others. And then they realized that they had this capacity to help, and then they wanted to help bigger, more. And so we decided to help the children in Haiti, specifically because of the 2010 earthquake at that time. And so we went and we built a school. And as we were building the school, again, I was operating as a one-woman show organically, and people were giving me their money in trust, right? So there wasn't a charitable organization. There wasn't, no tax incentives or anything like that. But then people started to pay attention more. And then I realized, like, I need to make this like a legitimate thing. And in the process of making it a legitimate thing, a lot of people ask me, like, why are you going to do that? Like, what are you doing so differently? Everybody already does what you do. Like, everybody already does education, and everybody, you're not reinventing the wheel, Serena. So, it's like, maybe you just join another charity and spin off that. And again, the tenacity, my tenacity and my belief in humanity and my belief in the communities that we serve was like, I know people might not see this as anything different or innovative or creative, but it's a need. And especially in Haiti at that time where it all began, was because like nobody was, even to this day, I'm still like, nothing has changed. Haiti is literally in a state of emergency. I mean, why it isn't, a worldwide crisis that we know about is because people have given up on Haiti. And that's just the point. So many people have given up on Haiti. So it takes a big spirit, determination to go out there and do the work. And so my thing to anybody like you, Barbara, and I'm telling you, I had a good feeling that because of your enthusiasm and your love, I think you're doing what the best thing to do is to be part of a charity, to learn and grow from a charity so that you can develop the skill sets for you to go on and do your own. And so what I'm saying is, yes, of course, you have to be, extremely passionate about what you do. I mean, a paycheck is not going to make you want to do the work that you do in this type of field. And I say, if you truly believe in your purpose and your cause, I wouldn't let anybody deter you from that, because your heart and your spirit and your willingness to be that leader can become infectious. So you start it because you believe in it, and then your goal is to get other people to believe in it. So I do believe that, and I've always said this, like, anything and everything is possible. And I say that because I never would be where I am today if my mind wasn't blown about the things that I challenged myself to in order to become. So yeah, definitely you want to start a nonprofit. You were probably starting it because you have a love and a passion for something. And so I always say, go for it, because the worst thing you can do is not try and fail than try and fail.
Yeah.
Right? Because for me, that's what I said when everybody told me I was crazy. And I was like, well, I'd rather try it and fail and know that I did my best versus not trying. So I'm the super optimistic pusher.
Mm-hmm.
You need to believe in your cause. Build a solid foundation. I think, again, this is where some of the things that I went wrong, because I just went for it. I just went for it. And then as I was doing it, I was learning along the way. And everybody did say, choose your board wisely, have your plan ready. And I didn't have all of that. I had a heart and a spirit. I believed in humanity. When people said they wanted to help and or be board members, I took them on trust and faith, which now I have learned the hard way. That's not always the best way to go, right? And do look for your board of directors, do your research, find the people who say they're committed, actually check their references, actually do the background information, because unfortunately, this kind of work also looks really good on resumes and also really looks good to talk about. But you want actual people who are there, committed and driven. And so that's why, when you're building your foundation, your board is literally the most important part of building your charity. And I said this last week, in which, again, I didn't know this. Like, I'm the CEO and I'm the founder, right? And that's not true. I mean, the charity does not belong to the CEO. The charity does not belong to the founder. The charity belongs to the board of directors. So when you're building that board of directors, that's super important, because those people, if they don't agree with you, they can get you out of your own charity, right? So when you build that solid foundation, my first step is saying, when you build that foundation with people you trust and believe to support your ideas and goals, and or work together to support each other's ideas and goals, right? But like I said, if your board doesn't agree with what you're doing, they're the ones who pass all the votes. So you can come with ideas, but if they don't agree with your ideas and they don't like your thoughts or your ways of acting and or behaving, they can say, you know what, we don't agree with you. And everybody puts their hand up, and that means nothing. And then step 3, yes, of course, you create a detailed plan. You need a plan, you need a vision. But I'd always say to people, especially in charity work, and depending on what kind of charity work you are doing, you always have to be ready for the unexpected. And you always have to be ready to go off that plan and come up with a new plan immediately. COVID for sure would be one of those examples, but even prior to COVID, getting people to believe in your cause, hoping and praying that people are going to donate. It's sad how much of a competitive market charity is. And I've seen some awful things in the charity world where people compete for donors and they do like not nice things to each other. And so, yes, build your business plan, have a vision, but also be open again to other ideas, because your board might present other ideas, and be open to changing that plan as you go, because in charity world, nothing is guaranteed. You're not going to guarantee the funding. You're not going to guarantee the grants. And so you always have to be ready to have a vision, but
So true.
find many different ways to make that vision come to life.
Well, Serena, thank you for really taking those 3 steps that we talked about last week and really putting some more meat to it and some more understanding, because like you said, you've been through this. How many years you had your nonprofit again? It's been what, 9 years? 12?
No. It's as a legal identity, it was 2018.
Oh, okay. That's
So
still a lot.
it's
Yeah.
5 years as a
5
legal
years.
identity, 5 years. But I did start doing like that level of charity work in 2010 when the earthquake happened, right? And again, like I was on the grounds, I was taking pictures, I was taking videos, I was letting people know, here I am. Here's the foundation. Next, we need to do the ground. Next, we got to do the walls. And, I kept the people involved in every step of the process, because without the people sending in the money for us to do those steps, we would have never been successful. And again, when we first started our project in Haiti, it was supposed to be like a $25,000, $30,000 project. It turned into a $250,000 project.
Wow.
And it's like, how did it go from point A, like from that little number all the way up to the top? And it was because, the people just wanted to, wheel us in. But when
Yeah.
they gave us that plan, they realistically said, like, that's not going to work because that's a small school and we need a big school. And then we need this and then we need that. And then we forgot about this. And,
The
you know, and,
needs.
and
Yeah.
so making sure, again, when you are starting that connection and that foundation with somebody, that everything is put in writing, right? And again, I've learned these, again, because of my big heart and my spirit, not coming from a background of charity, right?
Mhm.
I'm an educator, and if anything, I'm a special education educator. It's not like I'm a business teacher, or you know what I mean, a finance teacher. I'm like a teacher that's just going to try to make you be okay in the world.
Mhm.
So, the memorandums of understanding, the bylaws, the rules, the responsibilities, again, the fact that the board owns the charity, all of these things I wasn't aware of. And so I have been learning as I go along. And even to this day, I'm still learning as we go along, right? Because again, and every state is different. I will say the USA is harder. um, it is
Mhm.
harder because the USA has 50 plus states that you need to worry about.
Mhm.
And you need to get to and get compliance from every single state.
Mhm.
Every single state. You can't just get a registration for the USA. You can
Mhm.
get a 501c3, which is difficult, which will allow you to give a charitable receipt. But unless you have permission from each state to raise funds, you can't legitimately accept that money and give a tax receipt,
See?
right?
And those are the details of understanding more of that and bringing in the right people to understand. Because, like you said, you were on your own for a while. You did some research, but you had that heart and stuff. But then you found out as you were going along and things got bigger, especially building that school for Hades. So I'm just so proud of that for you. That you found out, okay, there's other things I need to make sure I'm doing
Oh,
within
yeah.
this nonprofit. So, I want to, Serena, because you did hit a lot on the next step. The fourth
Yep.
step of this is the board members, volunteers, and staffing. So what I want to do is I want to kind of take each one, because for the fourth step, it's stated, and this is what I found out. It started with the board member and leaders, and then it went into other staff members that can get paid. They
Yep.
mentioned a little bit about that, and then volunteers. So
Yep.
let's kind of start at the board members. So
Yep.
you mentioned about how important it is, and I noticed they said that the knowledge, you need to know how their knowledge is about it, skills and abilities. And this was interesting, Serena. I found it where it said, "Do you want
Yes.
to work the board to work hands on or just consulting and advise only?"
Yes, and that's a big one. That is a really big one. So, yeah, that's what I say. Like, when people give you their resume, and this is where I think the difference also comes from paid work and unpaid work. And as a matter of fact, board members are not legally allowed to get paid, right? The CEO is allowed to get paid, or the executive director, but no other board members are legally allowed to get a salary or get paid. I mean, if you really want, you can give an honorarium, but again, this is not paid work. And so yeah, you do look, because you do want a complete board, right? So for example, our board, and it's taken us many years to get here. I mean, legally on paper, in every country that I've worked in, the three number ones that are must is a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. You can run a non-for-profit with as little as those three people, but you need to have at least those three people, which again is your secretary, your treasurer, and your president. And again, check their skills, check their abilities, check out their references, call their ex workplaces. It means a lot, because in my experience of these 5 years, I've had a lot of people come to the board. And then this next step, like you said, do you want a working hands-on board or consult and advise only? And this is where we ran into problems, because
Mm.
when people were coming to the board, I was expecting them to do things,
Because
right?
that's what you needed.
And then, like I said, by year 2 and 3, and now when we do take on our board members, we do let them know that we are a hands-on board, right? You can't just come here because, again, we don't have paid staff and we need everyone's help and support. You can't just come because we're not at that point yet. I
Yeah.
mean, other bigger charities are, and I grant them that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But especially because we're still just starting and we don't have a ridiculous amount of funds, our board is a hands-on board. We need doers. And so this was some of the problems that we ran into, was that we did have extremely established, well-certified board members. But it's like you said, they had brilliant ideas, but then we had nobody to put those ideas into action, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference between having a hands-on board where we everybody present the ideas, we vote on what ideas are the best, and we work together with other volunteers to see that out. And for me, at this point in our, and you've seen some of our board members working. We need the board members to do the work. You can't just come to the table and make suggestions and pass votes. So that is very, very, very important. To recognize whether you want your board just to be like, again, just to be the decision makers, and then you have a whole team underneath. So, I mean, depending on what country you are, how it is like the board of directors and then the officers, right? And then usually the officers can be paid, and the officers are basically putting out that business plan or that marketing plan or that campaign plan. You have the worker bees underneath.
Yeah.
HHH, we don't have that, so that this is really big,
That
right?
is that is huge because, like I said, when I seen it, I said, you know what? I can see where and this is my take on it. Like I said, I'm just giving support suggestions. I mean, like I said, you're the guru with this, but I see where if you're starting off and you're small, I can see that at that time, I think the board would have to be that hands-on working because you need everything and everybody doing something. And
Yeah.
then once you grow to be this huge nonprofit organization and you have like the volunteers, you have the staffing, all that's like there and everybody doing what they should do, then I can see the board maybe easing up on hands-on so much and making sure more of the advisory consulting, looking,
Yes.
making sure the regulatory, the decision making, all the stuff on that other part, that fourth part is being done. But I feel like at the beginning stage
Yeah.
of it, unless you already going to come out like pow and have all these
No,
people, yeah,
you nailed it.
yeah,
You nailed it. And the other thing, Barbara, um, and I know this sounds awful because it is volunteer work, but I think having somebody, if it's not in the secretarial role, then in an HR department, who, and now we have this, but in the beginning we didn't, have the onboarding material, the little bit of training, the rule, like, the code of contact, the number of hours that are expected from you, so that when you are trying to follow through on the actions, and again, this is my mistake, doesn't mean it's everybody else's mistake. We would talk a lot. We would set out tasks, um, and because maybe I wasn't on top of everything, it was really difficult when I did the check-ins to be like, "Did you do this? Did you do this?" And they were like, "No, no, 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 no." So it got to the point where I was like, we need to have like these rules, responsibilities, and all these like contracts in place so that when they're not doing the work that they have signed up to do, we can at least call them in at some point and just say, when you joined the board, you said you were at least committed to 5 hours a month or 5 hours a week. And so you've had a number of tasks and you haven't completed the tasks because, it's really hard. Like, how do you tell volunteers, you're not doing your job? That's
yeah,
really difficult
yeah.
task, right? And
And,
when
and
go ahead.
and like you said, and well, the next screen I'm going to put because we're going into like staffing
Yeah.
and then the volunteers. Let's hit a lot of volunteers real quick since you talked about that. So the thing that they said too is when you're approaching somebody to be a volunteer, before you even recruit them, you need to ask these type of questions like how much time committed, how much
Yes.
time are you going to commit to what we have? How many do you need to sustain your operations or projects that you have? and then what special skills are needed, and then is training involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
again, we
yeah.
learned this the hard way, right? Because, we were just excited and eager. And I'm not ever going to dismiss, the integrity of humanity. But I think a lot of people really want to do it. But then when
Mhm.
they come to the table and they actually see how, like, we depend on them and we need them and we need the carry through, it
Mhm.
sometimes becomes more than they expected. So,
Yeah.
like, especially in the USA, like the second year and the third year, when we finally went through interviews, these were the interviews we'd ask right away. Realistically, what is your bandwidth? How much time are you willing to commit? Right? Like, this is what the expectations are. These are what the goals are. Do you think you're going to be able to handle that? And so I think you've heard me say this before. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I will have way more respect for you if you are honest about your responsibility,
Yes.
then take on a responsibility that we are all, hoping that you're going to do and don't do. Because then that starts to break the flow, it breaks
Yeah.
the team, it breaks the expectations. And especially, like you said, when you're taking on your board, you're looking at people in all different directions. You want, I said it's mandatory for the president, the secretary, the treasurer, but then you want somebody in marketing, you want somebody in business, you want somebody in HR, you want somebody in fundraising, event planning, right? So there's so many roles that you do need, maybe not at a board level, but underneath the board, that you need in order for your charity to be successful. And if you're paying some of these people, your charity's probably going to be way more successful than a charity like HHH, who is very unique. And everybody keeps telling us we're not going to be able to operate like this because it's not sustainable. That is a volunteer based charity from top to bottom,
Mhm.
right? So, it's difficult. It's difficult because,
Mhm.
it's like you said, what are we going to say when, volunteers commit to something and don't execute the plan? We
Mhm.
can't say anything bad except for thank you for trying, we understand, maybe we'll try again. But by that time you just say, like, I'm sorry, this isn't working out. But that whole even process is a
Yeah.
hard one because it's
Yeah.
volunteer.
It's,
If they were getting paid, then it'd be one thing, like, hey, you have a deadline, you have an expectation, do
yes.
you want to get your paycheck? Because somebody else will come and fill that position. But as volunteers, it's a very different kind of game that you have to play.
Yeah, and like you said, the part of it is it goes beyond the money, especially when you're volunteering, because now you have to think about, okay, I really believe in this mission
Yeah,
that they have. I believe in this nonprofit. I mean, I truly heart and soul. So if I got to do what 9 hours or whatever like that, it might not bother me because I'm so into it. So
yeah,
when you get those type of people, which is very special,
yes,
then
it is.
it's like you can give them whatever they, what, I got this, and you give them something. Okay, I got it. I got you. That's when it's nice to come. And those people are out there. I mean, they really are.
They
You
are
have
out
some
there.
people. Yeah.
They're difficult to find, but like the ones in our charity that have come and gone, some of them we've lost for really, COVID, with
Mhm.
single women living at home, having multiple children, can't do it anymore. Some of incredible rock stars, I call them, have come and gone, but we still have incredible relationships. And I'll be completely honest with you. Some have come and left because I was so new to the game that
Mhm.
I didn't know how to do everything correctly, or
Mhm.
I took too much on and wasn't able to do everything. So it was a learning process for me. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I make mistakes? Yes. And now I say that, like, I'm not perfect at this, but as long as we're learning to grow and learn together, that's the most important part because we're
That's
human.
what it's all about. We're human. So, and,
Yeah.
and that's why I love these teachable moments that we're going to have, the first part of the show, because we're giving people insight. We're
Yeah.
educating them on nonprofits. And also we're giving them, like, okay, this is what we went through. There was some low valleys.
Yeah.
There was some high mountains too, but there was some low valleys. And then I always tell people, this is what I always turn around saying, by learn from Barbara's mistakes. And then,
Yeah.
I tell a mistake and say, let's learn from that. But I'm glad that you were very vulnerable Serena, and discussing how HHS was started, how you
Yeah.
went through some trials, and then
Yeah.
you learn from them, and now you're stepping up and you're moving forward, and that's why it's good. See, that's building that foundation too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Oh,
building that foundation
definitely.
too. Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's it. Like, I mean, I am that person who believes in miracles and that anything and everything is possible. So I would never be that person to say, no, don't do it. No, it's going to be too difficult. I would never be that person, because if I was that person, we wouldn't be having this show right now. Right. So I do believe in, in doing what you believe in with all your heart, but you have to be ready to work really hard, grind really hard, be determined.
Expectations, put them out. This is one thing I learned, not just nonprofit, but just in general, Serena. Anytime doing a product, I make sure now people know the expectations.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be like, well, you didn't tell me, and I don't have to be like, I thought I told you. So
Yeah.
that's just how that goes. Well,
That was like really fast. I didn't realize we're at the point now where I need to stop talking.
yeah. Oh no, yeah, we're good. We're gonna go right into our special spotlighted nonprofit person. I know she's in our virtual green room, as I like to call it. And this wonderful lady, she is amazing. I met her, and it's funny because I'm gonna be part of, and she's gonna be part of too. She's one of the main keynote speakers of Celebrate You conference that's coming in July. And then I looked at her name when I was, getting ready for our show this Thursday. I said, "Wait a minute, Linda, that's the same Linda that's the keynote." I said, the same person. I didn't even know she was one of the nonprofit. So let me introduce what she does. Her vision and mission is Three Hearts. It's a social initiation with the vision and mission to create a more connected society by eliminating loneliness, isolation, and the lead up to depression. This really hits home, and this is going to be a good conversation because this mental wellness has really been kicking up more and more, and people have to
Yeah.
see that. So imagine a community, cities, and countries around the world. People from different walks of life and different career paths and interests, all having a safe place where they can connect authentically, regardless of their gender, race, skin color, or religion, to share their daily wins, their challenges, and their setbacks. A safe place to bring everyone to simply be together. That's the world I've been hoping for forever.
Yeah, I know, I love it. I'm gonna try to listen, because like this topic is like also like my big lifelong dream, right?
Yes. Well, you know what? I have because I want to play this before we bring Linda on because she has a lot of angels that support her. And this one lady is going to say a little bit something about Linda. So let me just gear that up real quickly and then we can bring her on. Technology takes just a minute here. So everybody be very, very patient with me. Okay. Okay. We're going to her here. We're going to play this real quick.
Author and founder and chair of Internet Sense First, a Canadian charity. I first met Linda through Three Hearts, an organization that she is the founder of. I found the whole concept of Three Hearts very beneficial. It gives people a sense of camaraderie, a sense of support that we all need so much in these challenging times, particularly with lockdowns and people staying home so much. As far as schools are concerned, as a secondary school educator, the Three Hearts concept would be excellent in a classroom, particularly at the secondary level, because it gives students more of an open, transparent support, person to person. Even if it is online, it's a very, very supportive tool. It will help with mental well-being. It will help with students finding out what may be troubling other students, and give them a sense of being able to support other people. It is good in all aspects, particularly even with religious organizations. Three Hearts is something that I highly recommend. I'm always disappointed when I miss their sessions. Thank you, Linda Duong, for such an excellent type of organization.
Wow. So let me bring on this wonderful queen. Hi, Linda. Can you hear us?
You're muted.
You're muted. There we go.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, Queen. How are we doing? I just noticed this too. I know we talked last night. We were back and forth getting ready for this today for the show. And you're from what, Australia, right?
Yes. Can you see Sydney Opera House?
I know. I'm looking at the background. Ooh. So we got Australia.
that is just half an hour from where I am. So it's very close by.
Ooh,
I lived in Australia for 2 years.
You did?
Oh, wow. How long ago was that? When was that?
I got my Master's of Education in Australia. So I was there, I don't even want to say, I don't even remember. Like, it was literally 20 years ago, about 20 years ago. Yeah, I was 25 at the time.
That was when I was in US, visiting US anyway. Okay. So we crossed that way.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me, joining you. I've been listening to you all, and it's been an incredible journey for you, Serena. And you've done an amazing job, Barbara, as a host. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here with you both. So much heart in this community, isn't it? I mean, the whole nonprofit, nobody could do nonprofit without the heart. And I just want to salute everybody. And in fact, one of the chapter in my book is actually dedicated to all the volunteer workers around the world. And that's just because it just touched my heart so much. And in fact, the founder that you just featured, Charlene, she's also a founder of another charity that I would love to connect you ladies, and then she can be on your show as well.
For sure. Sure. But I really want to hear your story because, I mean, you're talking about mental health. Like when I was listening, I was like, yeah, those are all the main causes of depression, right?
Yes.
And that's, and mental health. And, and so I think now more than ever, our whole planet has been able to understand it in a different light, in a different content.
Yes.
So I'd love for you to tell me about your charity, what you do, how to get involved. Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, there's already numerous organizations that is out there helping people. What I call the fixing model, if I may use those words, right? So they are the experts, the clinical psychologists, the counselors. And in Australia, we have many of them, like, the helpline and all these helping places already. But I ask myself, why is it then we continue to have people falling into this trap? If you look at the World Health Organizations, right, the statistics says 264 million people are suffering from depression. And what hurts me most, what saddens me most is that we all know, right? I know it's a little bit sad to talk about this, and trust me, I'm all about positivity. But like you, Serena, right? We are real. We talk about real things, right? It's not just about the pretty things, right? It really saddens me to know that depression is the main cause to disability. Now, we all know depression leads to suicide, but did we all know that is the main cause to disability? I didn't know that. Wow. And so it really, really touched my heart. But if I could take a step back, I know I sometimes think fast, and because I'm so passionate and I talk fast, I just take one step back to answer your question about, how I started it all. So basically, Three Hearts is an extension of my book. My book's title is Connection, the Currency to Happiness.
Yes.
Access your happiness right here, right now, with or without the $1 million. So the journey was like you. It's quite personal. It started from my father was transitioning to the nursing home. And I was missing my late mother. I so wish she was here to nurse him. He was 92. He was doing amazing. He was still living on his own. But on the New Year's Eve, he fell and broke his hip bone. And because of that incident, I missed my late mother so much. And my children never got to meet her. And that's when I thought, I'll write the book. I'll write down what grandma taught me that had allowed me to achieved every single dream I have so far. Even though I was born at the end of the Vietnam War without nothing that kids have these days. I only seen black and white TV, black and white photos, never seen what a computer looked like, never had color pencils. I arrived in Sydney at the age of 15 without a word of English. And I was constantly told my English writing is terrible, right? And so from there, I thought I'm going to write down what I've learned from grandma that had helped me with my life for them. So it was like bridging the generation gap, trying to connect them with grandma, even though they never got to meet her. But something happened. Something happened. After I wrote the first draft, there was 3 cases of death that I have no word to describe. It saddened me so much. And 2 of them was teenagers, and they took their own life due to cyberbullying. One was from US, and she's just beautiful. And the other boy is in Australia. He's only 11 years old. The girl from US is 15 years old, right? And I don't know them. I just saw them on the news. The girl was just so beautiful. I feel like she was like staring at me, right? And she's got like tan skin, beautiful green eyes, dark hair. I was like, I don't understand. She's so beautiful. How could that happen to her? I just could not stop crying. I just could not stop crying. And because it happened consecutively over a course of 3 days, the boy took his own life at school. He was only 11 years old. And I don't understand how it could happen. Anyway, so that's the shorter version, because each time I tell that in detail, I'll be like in tears, and I'll try not to today.
I know, Linda. I was like, oh, I mean, I'm just blowing my mind. 15 and 11 years old, and then I think about what I was doing 11 years old. And the last thing I was thinking about is that, and just to have a child think about, okay, I need to give my life up. Oh, yeah, I would have been crying like
I needed that escape so badly. And at that point in time, I just keep wishing that if they just reach out to anybody, if they just reach out and connect with anybody, the story would have changed, would have been different. So that's where I felt compelled to share my book with the world. And as soon as I make that decision, amazing things happen. Once you tune into your inner self, and once you listen to your intuition, you hear your calling. It's just very magical. And so as soon as I decided to share the book with the world, I just know we need to have connections, hubs around the world. Now, this is prior to COVID. This is back in 2019, but the book was published in 2017. So this is way before all of these online thing, right? So the vision that I got was that we literally need to have physical hubs all around the world for people to connect. So we did. We started in Sydney in 2019, in September, and it was beautiful. I should have shared with you the pictures, which I can still share later on after the show. And then we then launched it in Ohio, in USA, in January 2020, before COVID. But then when COVID hit, we brought it online through Zoom. Then we extended to Europe and Asia as well. So during the 2, right from the get-go, right from the beginning, the first wave of the COVID, we were really helping people to stay connected, because you know how it's like during those times, you can feel it could hit you so much. And I was like always on a meeting, especially 2020. I was staying up like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., because I was trying to cater for global time zones. So that's a bit of a background to Three Hearts. But when I was hearing you sharing your journey, Serena, about, you're founding this charity, how you go about it, basically imagine you were able to share that as you go, not 5 years later and only in one conversation. Imagine you were able to, as you go, whether it's monthly, whether it's weekly, whether it's bi-weekly. So we started as each fortnight. We have a meeting each fortnight, and then it was weekly. It was by demand. It was at the time, whoever they needed, we put on more meetings. And then gradually we scaled back to monthly. So basically, it's for anybody who values connection time. It's for anybody who values being authentic, like exactly like what you share, Serena, authentically talk about what you're going through. Because in doing so,
Yeah.
we are then all know that we can support each other. And then we all know that we're in this together. Otherwise, we will feel so alone. It's like you're so alone going on this journey by yourself. No one
Yeah.
really understands what you're doing. You don't get the kind of support that you need. And so it has been really, really impactful. Like we had a member, she's a glass artist, and I loved sharing this story. She's a glass artist, and she actually makes lampshades for the White House. It's incredible. We have incredible people in our community. It's a global community. She is such a talented woman, 76 years old, still the drive for learning, still amazing. She's just so incredible and member in our community. But this is what she shared, right? At the age of 76 years old, she go, you tell me what to do, what to achieve, I do it, I achieve it. But I never had the opportunity to learn about myself. And at Three Hearts, at 76, she were able to connect truly with herself. And from Three Hearts, she realized that she can be more than she thought she could. And she said, this is something that I should have done 40 something years ago. And that's why I'm passionate now to launch it into schools.
Yes.
I mean, often.
I know Serena wants to say.
Yeah, I'm dying because, Linda, I feel like we speak the exact same language. I've always said academics are important, but nobody is teaching the life skills, the social skills, the intuition, how to actually be who you were meant to be and not who society and people tell you to be. And that's the kind of programming that I agree with. We need to start at a young age to tap into that source. And then aside from that, teaching kids how to, live, think, be in the world with, with their heart, with their soul, with their true sense of self, that connection piece.
Yes. And in fact,
yep, go ahead.
In fact, that's the only reason, that's my main support reason, everything that you my secret, whatever you want to call it. That's my way of achieving every single dream I have. So one of my signature talk that I do at school is follow your heart, follow your dreams. And notice I say dreams, not just one, right? I like, don't be limited just by one dream, right? We're here to live. We're here to experience. So I have managed to achieve every single dream I have. Being a wedding dress designer, travel the world. I've been to Alaska a quarter century ago. I've been to Europe in 1997. I went to, first time I went to US was 1994. Then having exhibitions, won awards. My self-portrait was finalist for the Women's Art Prize on the theme of equality in 2016. I published a book even when people tell me my English is terrible. I become a life coach, help people achieve their dreams. And some of the people I help are incredible. They are teachers, they're professors, they're deans from the university, including parents, children. I have helped all walks of life. That's because my expertise, or so-called, or my niche, as the coaches like to call it, what's your niche? My niche is self-leadership. That's why I was able to help all different kinds of people from different walks of life, even founders I have helped. So basically, from following your heart, following your intuition is what leads you to be the better you. Because if we keep listening to the outer sources, the outer expectations, you can get crushed very quickly, very easily. You can get burnt out. You can feel stressed out for meeting expectations and not being happy. Like I have people ask me, Linda, I've got the big title. I'm a PhD. I've earned good money, but there's just a little hole inside their heart. It's just not, they're not entirely happy. And this is all the reasons why I do what I do. And so Three Hearts, coming back to Three Hearts, I have formulated this very, very basic model. And because I'm a creative, as you could hear, I design gowns, I write books, I do art.
Maybe a
So
lot,
I have,
a lot of
so I have,
things that you do, Linda. I was going to ask because of time. I just wanted
yes,
to make sure that we go over what the three hearts represent, because a lot of people, I see some audience that's in Messenger asking questions about that. And I just wanted to remind them that, it's the first love and connection for yourself, love and connection with and for others, and love and connection for the universe. So,
that's right.
tapping those three, I just wanted to people recognize that's what the three hearts represent.
That's right. And so I've been called the Queen of Hearts sometimes. I have all these nicknames, really
Queen of
sweet.
Hearts, I like that. That's cute.
Yes, yes. So you see me sign with hearts all the time on Facebook. So basically, three hearts is for anyone who values human connections. For the IT people, they talk about hard skill, soft skill. I don't agree with those terms, but for anybody who likes those terms, for anybody who values soft skills, and for teachers, for leaders, any leaders of any organization, for parents, anyone who is in leadership position, I would love to share more with you. So it's just a really simple model that you're able to connect with your team, with your children, with anybody at a very deep level, but very fun. It's very simple, very fun at a deeper level where everybody can truly share what matters to them. And we
Awesome.
have friends who just come for the first time. We have friends who come just first time and doesn't know anybody. And yet we still able to have conversation at every single meeting. We have laughters, we have tears.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing, that we're as a human, we need to experience all kinds of emotions, right? It's unrealistic to say, haha, I'm happy all the time. That's unrealistic. It's not true that you can be happy all the time. And when you're able to share authentically, like Serena did, I thought just so beautiful. And Barbara, I want to say thank you again. It's just so amazing that you do this show. When people are able to share authentically, there's so much healing, isn't it? There's so much healing, and there's so much togetherness, and it's something that reminds us all that we are in this together. Not when I say this, it's not just COVID, and not just this time, but this lifetime, this game so-called life. We are in this together. And we can't do it alone. We can't do it alone.
That's human spirit, human connection, I think, is like one of the most important things in life. And it literally takes one person to be there for you, to change your life. And so when you are feeling down, when you are isolated, when you are, thinking like you can't be brave enough to talk about these things, it's incredible what community does. And I feel like community is key. Who you're around is key. And when you can start to connect, you can start to live your true self. So that human spirit, that human connection, that you're bringing people together to share their journeys, that is for real, not only transformative, but life-changing. So I want to learn more about what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. We can connect more. And there has many life-changing stories happen in the little community. And when I say little, like, we have over 400 people there from all walks of life. We have many great leaders in there. So yeah, I would love to share more. So if you are in anybody who's watching, listening, if you watch now or catch the replay, if you are curious, please do get in touch. I just want to share, if I could be really honest, to share my deepest thought. Each time I shared this with Barbara before, each time I hear about the mass shooting, these bad, sad news, it really hurts me. It really saddens me. It really makes me feel that, like, I would question, why would anybody do that, right? They only do that because they feel disconnected. They're disconnected with the world. They're disconnected with other people. They're disconnected with themselves. Because if they're connected with themselves, they would have these compassion.
Yeah.
right? And they have compassion for other people. If they're connected with other people, they have the basic fundamental love and compassion for other people. They would not do it, right? And if they have the love and compassion for the universe, that takes them to a whole higher level. And so each time I hear that, it really saddens me. I know that I cannot say that Three Heart is the only thing that will fix that solution. I do sincerely, though, believe that it's one of the elements that can contribute to help shape that. I truly, sincerely believe Three Hearts has the ability to change the trajectory of mental health. And so I would really open the invitation for any experts who are interested. Please do get in touch, and together we can do more.
Yes,
Together
definitely.
we can do more. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I know our time. First of all, Linda, thank you so much. And what we usually like to do with our nonprofit spotlight people is give you at least 30 seconds to give just some lasting, just some golden nuggets to the people. And then I'll put how they can contact you while you're talking. But I'm going to take myself down and Serena so you can talk to the audience.
Thank you. You know, it's been so wonderful, Barbara and Serena, and everyone who has been watching. And if you catch a replay, if you're only joining now, please do watch the beginning and visit our website, lindaduong.com.au at the Three Hearts page. You know, I wonder, have you ever have a moment you feel like, I want to share my highlights, I want to celebrate my life, but who do you tell it with? You know, are you going to come out feeling like, oh, you're boasting about yourself, right? It's just really hard. Or is there a moment when you feel like, oh my goodness, you know, I really feel down, but you don't have anybody to talk to because you don't want to come out and feel like people think you're negative, right? Or is there a moment that you really feel like, I have this challenge, but I got nobody to tell? These are the conversations we have with Three Hearts meeting. Now, I know it sounds like serious in one go, but we really do have a lot of fun because there's a lot of other fun games we play with. Basically, we meet up, we get together, we play games, and amazingly, through that, life transformations happen. So I would love to connect with you if this speaks to you. And so please do email me, linda@lindaduong.com.au. Or I'm on Facebook. Let's get in touch. Let's connect. Thank you, Serena, and thank you, Barbara, for this amazing opportunity to share with everybody.
And I 100% believe and support in the Three Hearts and what each heart stands for. And I am in 100% agreement that if you apply those three hearts to your life, that yes, this is how we start to change the world, for sure.
And to begin to change with yourself first. You've got to be happy with yourself.
Yes.
And then the love and connection radiates. And together, that's when we'll be a lot happier.
Yeah.
Yes, Linda. Well, thank you, Linda, so much for coming on the show. We always tell our guests to come, we're going to ask you to come back, when you're doing, if you're doing anything different or new or something coming up, please keep us in mind because we would like to spotlight other nonprofit organizations on the show. So thank you. And Serena, any last words before we sign off? You there? Serena's like, oh, we're good. Okay. Well, again, thank you, Linda. We love you. We give the hearts to you so much. And I tell people, please reach out. These nonprofits, please, this is one reason I always tell people awareness is the key. And this is making everybody aware of what's needed out there. You see with Help of Humanity, you see with the Three Hearts and the other ones, it's needed. Open up your minds, see what's needed, and please become a volunteer, a staff person, or maybe a part of the board, whatever you want to do, but do it with love and careness of your heart because it's needed. It's needed. So we'll see you next Thursday. I can't wait. Talk to you later.
Bye for now.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. You know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.